Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome back to my channel. So one of my absolute favorite things to do is to go book thrifting, and I've thrifted many books on my shelf, and I have a list on my phone of books that I would love to thrift. A book thrift wish list, if you will. And I thought that it'd be kind of fun to share this wish list with you guys, because while yes, it is fun to go to the bookstore and, you know, buy books new, I also think it's a lot of fun to go to a thrift store and go on the hunt for those books that you know, maybe don't want to buy full price, or, you know, are older and are harder to find in certain editions. So I have a bit of a wish list here of books that I would like to collect and add to my collection, specifically via thrifting. So before we get into my wish list, make sure to give this video a huge thumbs up, subscribe if you have not yet already, and comment down below and let me know your favorite place to go book thrifting, whether it's, you know, an actual thrift store or a used bookstore. Let me know down below, and also let me know what is at the top of your book thrift wish list. But with that out of the way, let's get started. So in no particular order, the first book on my list is Bridge of Souls by V.E. Schwab. This is the third book in the Cassidy Blake series. It's her middle grade series. I'm obsessed with this little book trilogy. I originally listened to them as audiobooks, and I own books 1 and 2 already. I thrifted both of those ones from Valley Village, and I have been on the hunt for Bridge of Souls. I have yet to come across it. I'm not opposed to buying this book new, but I feel like it would just be kind of fun to get it thrifted. I'm not in a particular rush to have my hands on it, which is why I'm kind of leaning towards the thrifting avenue, because I've already read these books. I like the audiobook, so if I feel the need to reread them, I can turn to the audiobooks if I don't own the physical one. But this is one that I would love to have in my collection, since obviously V.E. Schwab is one of my favorite authors. It's obviously nice to own all the books that I love by her, so this one is definitely one that I am always on the hunt for when I go book thrifting, and hopefully I will find it soon. The next one is one that I've been trying to find for years now. I think maybe the last like 6 or 7 years. I honestly can't even remember when I read this book, but it is Wildcard by Marie Lu. It is the second and final book in the Warcross duology. I really enjoy this duology. It's another one that I listened to via audiobook. I own Warcross. I bought that one new from Powell's in Portland, and I have yet to find Wildcard in hardcover. I needed hardcover. Same with Bridge of Souls, to match the editions I already own, and I just have yet to come across this one. And while I do love this book and I want to own it, I am in no particular rush to own it. I don't think it's high enough priority for me to try and find new and to spend full price on it. So this is one that I'm kind of always having my eye on when I go to the thrift store. I do think it'd be easier for me to find it at a store like Powell's, which is such a huge bookstore, but I'm not going to Portland anytime soon, so don't really have that available to me. So hopefully I can find Wildcard eventually, because I would really like to complete that duology on my shelves. The next book is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. This is the first book in the Well Met series. I actually don't know if it has an official title or not, but I was given the second and third books from my friend, who had a friend who was giving away some of her books, and so I didn't pay for the other 2 books, but I don't own the first one, and I would like to read the first one before I read the other 2, so I need to get the first one. I'm again not opposed to buying it new, but I've never read a book by Jen DeLuca before, never read these books, so I'm leaning towards either finding the ebook or the audiobook to read and then deciding if I want to thrift it or buy it new. But if I come across it at a thrift store, I will be buying it. So that's just kind of one that I have my eye out for. The next one is The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. Another book that I am not opposed to buying new, but if I find it at the thrift store in hardcover, because I need it in hardcover, if I find it in hardcover in a really good condition, then I will be buying it immediately. This is the second book in the Truly Devious series. I own books 1, 3, 4, and 5. I recently came into possession of the 4th and the 3rd books, and now my collection just looks so incomplete without the 2nd book. So I'm trying my hardest to get my hands on this book, but for some reason it's not available on Indigo. in hardcover, or Amazon for that matter. So I am trying to get my hands on this book in any way that I can in hardcover. So fingers crossed that I can get that one soon, because it's really bothering me that it's the only book now that I am missing from the Truly Devious series. So there's a definite hole in my bookcase that needs to be filled. The next book is The Last Life of Prince Alistair by Alexandra Bracken. This is another one that I listened to as an audiobook. I am in no particular rush for it. It's the second book in the Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding duology. It's another middle grade series. I really enjoyed it when I read it. I own the first book, and it is one that I would like to own because I think the covers are really cool and it is a series that I enjoyed. But again, not in a particular rush for it, and I also don't think I care enough to go buy it new. So it's one of those things where if I can find it used, amazing. If I can't, then I guess I'll just never own it. The next book is Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn. This is a YA romance book that I read a few years back, and I really enjoyed it. I read it from the library, and I would love to own it. Again, not in any particular rush for this one either. And I also don't really care necessarily if I have it in hardcover or paperback. It's just kind of in whatever form I can find it in good condition, I want it. But because I read it so many years ago, actually not even that many years ago, just a handful of years ago, I just don't feel the particular need to buy it new when there are other books that I would kind of rather have at the moment. The next book is a children's book. It's a children's picture book, and it's Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. I loved these books as a kid, and I don't feel the need to own all of the books, but I kind of just want to own that first one because it's obviously the first book in the series. But it was an absolute favorite of mine growing up, and I could buy it new, but I don't really feel like it, if I'm being honest. I would much rather buy it for a couple of dollars at the thrift store. I did find it recently, like a month or two ago, but it was in awful condition. Like, it was so gross looking, and ever since then I've been on the hunt for it again in the thrift store in much better condition. So hopefully I can come across that one, but obviously I'm not in a huge rush to get a children's picture book, you know, but it is something that I would like to add to my childhood books collection. The next one is another random one, and it is actually a biography of Walt Disney. It's called Walt Disney: The Triumph of the American Imagination, I believe. I listened to this one as an audiobook, and again, not in a huge rush for it. I did really enjoy the audiobook, and I wouldn't mind owning a physical copy of it that maybe I could reread and annotate, because I feel like I just get more out of like biographies and nonfiction if I'm physically reading it and marking it up. So that is something that I'm interested in. I've yet to see it used. I did find it on Thrift Books once, but I talked myself out of buying it. But again, not one I'm in a huge rush for, but I always do kind of just quickly browse the biography section when I'm in a thrift store to see if they have it. But again, not in a huge rush because I don't even think I'd want to reread it anytime soon anyway, but it is something that I wouldn't mind adding to the collection. The next one's more general, and it's just Sally Thorne books. Any book by Sally Thorne. I've read The Hating Game, 99% Mine, and Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match by Sally Thorne, and I actually recently thrifted Angelica Frankenstein, which was really exciting for me because I really wanted to add that to my collection. That was specifically in my thrift wish list before I found it, so that was very exciting to tick off. But just any Sally Thorne book in general. I like her books, but again, I'm not in a huge rush to like buy them to where I would need to buy them new, if you know what I mean. Like, I would just have much higher priority books, so if I can find them used, that would be great. The next one I feel like is going to be a bit difficult, and it's the Diviners series by Libba Bray. I really enjoyed this series. I listened to them as audiobooks. I own the first book, but I own it in the original hardcover. If you don't know, this series went through a couple of different cover designs, and unfortunately, I love the new cover designs. I love them, but they never re-released, I think, the first two books in hardcover. They're just in paperback. So I did see the copy of the third book, Before the Devil Breaks You, I think it's called. I found that one at a HomeSense recently, and I was this close to buying it, but then I was like, you know what, it's not going to match the hardcover of the Diviners that I have, and they don't make the first two in hardcovers. So I'm looking for these ones specifically in the new covers in a paperback. I've never come across them at a Value Village or a thrift store, so these ones I think are going to take take me a while to get to, but again, not in a huge rush, simply because I really love the audiobooks for them. So I'm totally okay with listening to the audiobooks if I want to reread them, but they are books that I would really love to own because I think that the aesthetic of those new covers are so beautiful, and I would love to be able to add them to the shelves. I think they would add something quite beautiful, especially during spooky season. I would love to be able to display those covers in some way. I typically display the Diviners during the spooky season, so that one is definitely a series that I have my eye on, but because it's a 4-book series, I feel like it's going to take me a while before I can collect the whole series. So we're going to see how that one goes. You guys will be the first to know if I manage to find those, but that is definitely something that is quite high on the book thrift wish list. The next one is another series, and this one I feel like I'm gonna have to like buy used online, and that is the Soul Screamers series. I'm specifically looking for books 2, 3, 4, and possibly book 6. So these ones, again, not a huge priority because I do own them in the bind-ups that they have, but I was able to find books 1, 5, and 7, I think, at a Value Village in the States, and I've been on the hunt for them ever since because I think that that would be a really fun series for me to annotate. I did used to own book 6. I gave it to my friend in grade 6 when I bought the bind-ups, and she has it still somewhere in her house. She just can't find it, but if she does find it, she said she would give it back to me, which is why number 6 is a bit of like a question mark if I'm gonna thrift it or not. It kind of just depends if I find it at a thrift store first or if she finds it in her house first. But that is a series that I would like to find. I have found them on Thrift Books, but I'm not ordering things from the States right now, so I don't really know when I'm going to be able to get these books into my hand. They are out of print, they are old, so they're more of a in the air kind of book. The next one is The Blue Castle by Ella Montgomery. I don't have a particular cover necessarily in mind for this one, and this one is one that I would buy new because it's not that expensive. If I were to buy it new, this is the cover that I would want, and I do think it's possible to find this used because I have seen the Emily of New Moon books, I believe, in this cover style at the thrift store, and I did buy a copy of Anne of Green Gables in this cover art at the thrift store. I just haven't seen The Blue Castle. I did find it in a really ugly edition the other day, and I simply could not buy it because I knew that I would want it in a different edition anyway, so I was like, I'm not gonna spend the like $4 or $5 that it was if I don't even like the cover. So hopefully I can buy that one soon, but I am hoping to go to PEI this summer, so if I can't find it used, I will just be buying it new because it's, like I said, not that expensive. So that is one that I will probably end up buying new if I'm honest, but it is something that I'm looking for if I go to the thrift store. Then this is another one that's like, if I find it, great. If I don't, that's fine, and it's Broken Hearts, Fences, and Other Things to Mend by Katie Finn. This is the first book in the Broken Hearts trilogy, and this series went through a cover change. This is what the original cover looked like, and this is obviously the new cover, and I have books 2 and 3 in this cover style, but I bought this first one on bargain at Indigo years ago, and like, it doesn't bother me too much that they don't match because like the vibes are kind of similar on the spines, at least. Like, it's not super obvious if you don't know that it's a series that they don't match, but it is one where I'm like, okay, I almost spent $6 on it years ago, so it's like, if I can find it in a hardcover that matches the ones that I do have, I wouldn't mind replacing it, but it's honestly not a huge priority. I was just kind of looking at my shelves last night to kind of confirm the wish list and see if there's anything else I could add, and that was one that jumped out at me. I do love when my series match, so that is something that I would like, but again, not a huge priority. Then we have the Magisterium series by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black, specifically books 4 and 5. I think it's only a 5-book series. If it's a 6-book series, then I also need book 6. I only own the first 3 books, so I just need the remaining books in the series. It's another one I listened to on audio, and it's not like an all-time favorite series, but it was enjoyable, so I wouldn't mind completing the collection so the series isn't just, you know, incomplete on my shelves forever. So that is one that I just kind of thought of last night when I was looking at my shelves. The next one is Cafe Con Lychee by Emery Lee. This is a book that I own the ARC for, and it came out in 2022, and it's a book that I really enjoyed, but because I have the ARC, I haven't really felt the need to go out and buy the book new full price. So this is one, again, looked at my shelves last night, thought, what else could I add to this list, and that is one that jumped out at me because I really did enjoy it, but it's now been 3 years since I've read it, so I'm not sure if I want to spend the 20-something dollars to get it new. Times are tough out here, so where I can save money, I would like to. So hopefully one day I can find that in hardcover. I do tend to find a lot of YA books at the thrift store. That's always the section that I go to first. So we're gonna have to see if that happens in the future. I would like to get that specifically in hardcover because I have Meet Cute Diary by Emery Lee in hardcover, and then that way it feels different enough to the ARC that I don't feel bad buying it, but I also don't feel the need to hang on to the ARC if I can get the finished copy, you know? So that is something, again, that I have my eye on. So that is my current book thrift wish list. I'm sure that I will think of more books to add to the list, especially the more that I read or listen to audiobooks from the library. That's, you know, typically what happens. I'll read a book from the library and then I want to own it, and it kind of just depends how much I love it or how much I feel the need to own it and have it on my shelves. So I'm sure that there will be more books added to this list, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. I know I already asked you guys to leave comments at the beginning of the video, but also let me know if you would be interested in seeing like book thrifting vlogs from me, or even like a YouTube short or something where I'm like book thrifting, because I do it quite often. So let me know if that's something that you would be interested in, and if you are, I will definitely try to do that for you guys. But subscribe if you haven't yet already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!